Needless to say, there has been a lot of unexpected updates in the Gene Hackman case today. In fact, I think this is like the third video that I'm making on this case just today. And all of this stuff kind of came out of nowhere. But to fully understand where we're at right now, I suggest that you go check out the previous videos that I made on this case recently, because over the past couple of days, there has been a chain of events leading to where we're at right now. But long story short, they've been releasing body cam footage of the investigation into Gene Hackman's death. And in some of the body cam footage, it was revealed that a hairstylist that worked for Betsy, he revealed that Betsy told him that her and Gene had a stalker that was following them around town and all of this stuff. Now, little did we know, just like we were kind of frustrated with the investigation, just like we were kind of frustrated by the mixed up details and how they misidentified the dog and just little mistakes that were really frustrating for us, little did we know Gene Hackman's daughters were extremely frustrated as well. And since this news broke about this alleged stalker, from what the reports are saying, Gene Hackman's daughters have now hired a private investigator. So they want an outside entity that has nothing to do with the investigative team in Santa Fe. They want a private investigator. They want a separate opinion into what happened here, because they're not necessarily buying the answers that we've been given. Now, a lot of people feel that way, and I'm still like on the fence. I don't necessarily believe that something, like foul play is involved here. I really don't think it is. But there's something not right. The answers we've been given aren't adding up. And now, news has broken about an hour or so ago at the time of this recording. You'll be watching this video later. Like I said, this is the third video I'm filming on this case today. News has now broken that Gene Hackman and his wife's bodies are still unclaimed. Now, people have been reporting that Gene and Betsy were already cremated, but that is not the case at all. I want to go ahead and dive into this information really quickly. Gene Hackman and Betsy bodies still unclaimed more than a month later. Gene Hackman and his wife's bodies are still unclaimed more than a month after their tragic deaths. TMZ reached out to the office of the medical investigator in New Mexico, and they confirmed the list of unclaimed descendants is updated online every Monday. Gene and Betsy's names appeared on the list on March 24th, and they're still there as of today. Officials say it's not unusual for bodies to remain unclaimed for a month after dying. It's unclear why Gene and Betsy's bodies remain unclaimed, though. But it is possible the family is still making funeral arrangements or finalizing plans. Gene has 3 kids, a son, Christopher, and 2 daughters, Leslie and Elizabeth. The sisters had spoken out in the press after the death of their dad, who left all of his Hollywood fortune to Betsy. Hackman had spoken about his tough relationship with his kids, admitting that over the years he wasn't around much when Chris was growing up, but he did get closer to them in later years. The investigation is still ongoing. And you see, that last little detail is something that I think a lot of people don't realize. The investigation is still ongoing, which means the story isn't really over, which means we may be getting more answers. I suspect we'll get more details at some point in the future. But obviously, even Gene Hackman's kids, they're not really happy with the investigation, to say the least, okay? Which is why they hired a private investigator. Now, Gene Hackman and his wife, their bodies are still unclaimed. And as I was saying before we hopped into that article, a lot of people believe that they were already cremated, but that is not the case. But I understand where the confusion comes from. You see, in some of the body cam footage that has been released, law enforcement was on the phone with one of Gene's daughters. And she basically tells the cop to cremate the dog and to bury the cremated dog with Betsy. And I think people automatically assumed, okay, you're going to cremate the dog, you're going to cremate Betsy. So I think people automatically assumed that Gene and Betsy were getting cremated. Now, I don't know if they're going to get cremated. I don't know if they're going to have a burial, if there's going to be a funeral. I don't know those details, and those details have nothing to do with us. Those are personal details that, the family should only need to know, right? Most of those details we don't need to know. But there is, I guess for some people, this mystery or confusion surrounding the fact that their bodies are still unclaimed. And I think the reason their bodies are still unclaimed, the reason why they haven't necessarily been buried or cremated yet, is because the daughters have questions. Once you look at the story and you realize, okay, they've hired a private investigator because they're not happy with the investigation, and then you hear, okay, the bodies are unclaimed, it starts making more sense. Because I think they're going to want maybe a second opinion, not just on how they died, but just on the overall investigation, just in general. I think they want an outside opinion. So I think they're not rushing to bury Gene and Betsy. They're not rushing to cremate Gene and Betsy because they're not satisfied with the answers they've been provided with yet. And they don't want to rush into things because they still think that there's a possibility that there's some foul play afoot, or that at the very least, the cause of death is that we've been given is not the actual cause of death. I mean, why else do you hire a private investigator and you delay burying them or cremating them? I think both of these stories have something to do with each other, if you ask me. Maybe I'm reading into things too much. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. That's okay. But everyone's acting like there's this huge mystery, right? Oh, why are the bodies unclaimed? Well, maybe we've kind of been given the answer because they're not satisfied with the results that they've been given so far. But like I said, the investigation, the official investigation, is still ongoing. And now we know there's a private investigation ongoing too. And we're kind of here on the sidelines just watching all of this play out. And sometimes we go a couple of days, we don't hear anything, and we think it's over. And then bam, we get hit with stuff like what we've gotten hit with today. So I'm interested in seeing where this goes. Every video I make on this case, I think, oh, here's my last video on this case, but I keep getting proven wrong. If there's just little news, maybe I might not pick up on it, but some of this stuff is kind of a big deal, and I'm still interested in seeing how this plays out. You let me know what you think, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.